Hey, what's up guys? My name is Justin and welcome back to my channel where I talk about tech, self-development, and life. So today I'm going to be talking all about my biggest regrets as a CS major at NYU. And the reason why I want to make this video is actually because I've recently, for the past year or so, been mentoring a lot of my friends and peers on the side. And I realized as I teach them a lot of things that I wish I could change about my own experience in college as I was obtaining my CS degree. And maybe this will help those of you who are currently doing your CS major or who are looking to get into it. So in no particular order, let's start off with the number one thing that I wish I could go back and change is I wish I would have stopped comparing myself during my first year of college. So I think a bit of background or context before I came to college is I was actually more of a writer in high school. I wrote novels, I did creative writing, I did poetry, and so on. But I ended up going to school for a CS degree. Now there's a lot of reasons behind that. I was not forced to go into a CS degree, but I will say that during my first CS class at NYU, it was a bit intimidating. There were some people who had already programmed in high school, and I just felt like I'm so far behind already that there are already people who have programmed, and why the heck am I even here at an engineering school? And a lot of that initial self-comparison I feel was just very counterproductive. I was already demoralized myself from the beginning. And I think the number one thing I will say is that if you are going for a CS degree in your bachelor's, that you probably don't need to worry about not knowing how to program. You have 4 years ahead of you to learn how to program, and it really isn't necessary to learn how to program your first day. I mean, you can look at me now. I didn't know how to program my first day, and I ended up now working at Amazon. So it definitely doesn't matter if you didn't have that ability from the get-go. Now, the second thing that I wish I did better was being more proactive in my search of finding a mentor, going to office hours, and talking to TAs. And the reason why I wish I was more proactive is because when you talk to people who are older than you, who have more knowledge, they usually can guide you a bit better than if you were to go about it blindly. A lot of the things I had to self-discover, and I wish that if I just was more proactive in reaching out to people, that I could have figured out information that I otherwise was not privy to. Now, to be honest, I do remember asking some of my upperclassmen the questions of, advice that they can give and so on. And to be honest, most of them honestly didn't have a clue of what they were doing, at least the people I asked. But I do feel like if I were to have reached further out, if I were to be more proactive, if I had even just looked online, I could have done a better job in finding a community structure that could have guided me more in terms of how to develop better at NYU or even just as a CS major. I feel like some other things I could have been more proactive in is actually utilizing the resources that are given to you as a student. Not only just at school, but even online. For example, there's something called GitHub Student Pack, which if you're a student, you can get for free. And it comes with a bunch of free things, such as Front-End Master, which teaches you how to do web development, Data Camp, which teaches you data science, or all these other different resources, which comes with free curriculums that I could have done and looked for more information on the side of going to school. So really, I should have just been more proactive about learning about my degree on the side by myself and not just trusting everything to be handed to me by the school, because the reality is that was never going to happen and most schools don't ever do so. So the third thing that I wish I did better was I wish I did better in balancing my time. I feel like in college, I severely underestimated the difficulty of college classes, the number of college classes I had to take, and the degree to which I had to perform. And honestly, it usually took up all my time and I constantly felt stressed. My mental health was constantly declining. It actually got to the point where I had to be hospitalized. And I feel like, because of that, it really comes back to me on making sure that I keep a balanced lifestyle. And I should have withdrawn from classes, or I should have said no to more things in order to keep a healthier lifestyle. At the end of the day, college is not there to prove that you can get all A's in all your classes. College is there for you to have time to develop. And so I really regret for my first 2 years trying to do more than what was necessary because it really severely impacted my mental health, my stress, my sleep, and just everything about my life in general. So I think the fourth thing that I really wish I did, and maybe this overlaps a bit with being more proactive, I wish that I knew what the interview process was like for tech careers earlier on. So I was lucky and I ended up getting a sophomore internship at JP Chase, which was a great experience and I highly recommend it. But their hiring process is a bit more atypical compared to other tech companies' hiring process such as Google, Facebook, Amazon, and so on. It wasn't really until come my junior year that I started actually studying for technical interviews and I ended up getting into Amazon. But having mentored a lot of my mentees now who are or were in their sophomore year, get into top tech companies at Amazon and Bloomberg and Microsoft and so on, earlier on, I see a lot more of the advantage of getting an internship a year earlier. And I just wish I knew how to study for these interviews, and I wish I knew what was the process of studying for these interviews sooner. So finally, to end it off on a positive note, what do I think that I actually did well in college? I think the number one thing I did well is actually spending time to teach myself practical skills outside of college. So the thing about college is, at the end of the day, it doesn't teach you everything that you need to know, especially for a CS degree. A CS degree is there to teach you theoretical skill sets like networking, computer architectures, and so on. But it doesn't actually teach you to make a website or do app development or anything like that. Instead, you need to take the time to learn these things by yourself outside of school. And I'm actually very thankful and lucky. During my freshman year of summer, I started self-teaching myself because I felt so behind to other people and I was interested to keep on learning. And so I actually ended up teaching myself web development, app development, and during my 3 years progression since then, I had learned a lot more than other students. But anyways, that's it for the video. If you have any comments or would like to share your own experience, leave it down below. And I highly recommend to join my Discord in the description. This was a more quick and loose video, but I hope that you still enjoyed. Anyways, see y'all next time.